665 Banyan, the Banyan Tree Project, rooted in acceptance.
As part of this first newscast in March, we draw attention to Women's History Month. Here in Boston, that history can be celebrated year-round thanks to the self-guided tours created by the Boston Women's Heritage Trail. And to tell us about some of the events planned for this month is our guest, a board member for the trail, Liane Curtis. Thanks very much for being with us.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
And this is a special year because it's the 20th anniversary of the Heritage Trail.
That's right, yeah. The Boston Women's Heritage Trail, a group of teachers got together and decided to get this going. They used to take students on the Freedom Trail back in the 80s, and the students themselves started asking, how come we don't see women on the Freedom Trail?
And I guess this isn't just about quotas, because I guess if you don't have the women, you miss a lot.
That's right, yeah. I think you know, our picture of history has really changed. Like, you used to always hear the term founding fathers, and now people are talking about the founders. It's become sort of gender neutral because, you know, with Abigail Adams, we know what a force she was beside, you know, helping John Adams and being really a big help to him in determining policy. So,
I think the other thing that I've noticed is that women, their leaderships and their organizations, they leave a mark in history, the fabric of the neighborhoods really, and there are things that really, I didn't realize it until many years went by, but these started as a result of things that women did and put together.
Right, so our trails have all kinds of, you know, women who are commemorated, women who organized neighborhood groups or, you know, churches, synagogues, you know, so schools, I mean, just all kinds of activities, as well as being, you know, more in the public sphere or leadership roles.
By the way, what about some of the events this month that have to do especially with the anniversary itself?
Well, we've just planned this busy series of events, 10 events in March, just to celebrate the trail, our 20th anniversary, and there's specifically a Roxbury Trail, trolley trail on March 28th, and that's a new trail that we're celebrating and taking people on a trolley ride about that and commemorating that with a neighborhood group as well. So.
And some of the other events, you have some arts events. There's one about, I think, women in construction. It's a work of art commemorating.
Oh, that's on our website. Yeah, we put a link to that. That's I mean, usually our focus is historical, but that's one that of Susan Eisenberg, who is a master electrician and is commemorating the 30th anniversary of the Equal Rights Amendment and trying to get more women into the trades, which was not really successful. There's still only about 2% of women in the trades. That's an exhibit at Suffolk. Yeah.
There are other things in the arts and music as well.
Right. Well, there's a visual arts at the MFA commemorating the museum event that they had a studio of her own. So that's actually Wednesday, March 4th. And then there are two concerts at the end of the month, March 28th at the Boston Public Library. Virginia Eskin, who's a very well-known noted pianist, she's performing at 2:30 in the afternoon, and then the March 29th at Brandeis, there's a performance of the Lydian String Quartet performing music by women composers from the Americas, from 3 centuries, 19th, 20th, and 21st. So.
Now this is your field, and you've spent really just pretty much a lifetime working, and there's a reason for this, right? There are things that we should know about this field that we don't know enough about.
There really is. I mean, and in Boston we're so lucky. I mean, I got involved working with the trail because of Amy Beach, and I noticed, you know, the names on the hat shell and how there were 87 names of male composers, and I thought Amy Beach's name should be up there, and one of them. So I got together with the Boston Women's Heritage Trail, and they helped me get her name up there. So suddenly she's now included, and so she's one of them. And you know, I mean, women composers, you know, the Boston Symphony played Amy Beach in her own lifetime, but they're not playing her now. I mean, that some of these figures had an incredible recognition when they were alive, but then have dropped sort of off the map of history, and making sure their contribution is still remembered.
Well, since this trail got started, there is a new visibility for women in history. We have the 3 women on the Commonwealth Wall.
Oh, right, the Boston Women's Memorial, right, yeah.
And we also have the memorial for the Tubman Memorial in the South End.
That's right, yeah.
And for people growing up, I know it's for boys, but it's, I guess mainly we're thinking about young girls growing up. When they see these and they see these kinds of possibilities and models, what does that do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really does make sort of, it makes visible, it really brings to light the whole notion of equality, of, you know, of recognizing what women are capable of, and that's important for girls and boys to know, and for men and women to know. You know, it's just, it really affects the whole fabric of our society to have that awareness.
But the way these organizations affect us over the years, the suffrage movement, we sometimes think of that as passé, but it also has a kind of a continuation, as it were.
Well, sure, it has a continuation. I think we were thinking about that, I mean, looking at all the sexism that Hillary Clinton faced, I mean, some very overt sexism that she encountered running for president, and that we still haven't had a woman president when so many other countries have had women in their top leadership roles. So so we're having some speakers in conjunction with the Old South Meeting House about the history of the suffrage movement, and then also about the anti-suffrage movement, the men and women who are against the idea of suffrage and organized that way. So.
And if you study this history, you learn things about men that make you scratch your head. The resistance to the suffrage movement when it might have been against the political interest of some of these same men.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there was all kinds of resistance. I mean, saying that it was not, sort of biologically appropriate for women, that they weren't capable of, being the equals of men, that, they didn't have the intellectual capacity, as well as saying it wasn't appropriate if they leave the home, who's going to take care of the children. I mean, that's a line that we hear still, saying that, the home is women's responsibility, and rather than seeing that responsibility as an equal one.
We should also mention there's a lot more information about this, plus the self-guided tours online. So we should give at least one entry online where people can find this.
Oh, absolutely. Our website, we've just remodeled it. It's Boston Women's BWHT.org, and everything's there. The 7 guided tours that are in our guidebook are on. This one's very beat up because I take it on tours, but. The 7 tours are on the website, and then more information because we have student-designed tours that we've done of neighborhoods, and those aren't in the guidebook, but they're up there on the website.
And of course, for the events, it's bwht.org/events. Right. Thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
From the Boston Women's Heritage Trail, Liane Curtis. Up ahead, sports with Pat Flaherty.